Today I'm going to talk about why college should not be free. Currently 40% of Americans have at least 2 years of college education, and roughly 15% of Americans are unemployed, and 7.2% of Americans have a college education of at least 2 years or more and are unemployed, which goes to show that that is roughly half of the overall unemployed Americans, which proves that just because you have a college education does not mean that you're necessarily going to get a job over somebody that doesn't have a college education. Also, if college were free, we're going to talk about how unemployment would rise and how it would cause the current deficit for the country to increase. Basically, a good thing about having a college tuition is it offers a type of natural selection, meaning that if somebody really wants to go to college, they're going to go regardless to if it causes debt, regardless to if it takes 4 years of their life or anything else, because they ultimately know that it's going to better their just overall life. Another thing that college or free college would do is it devalues a hardworking American, and it makes somebody that, say, works in a coal mine or has a tech degree or something like that, they just feel like it's subpar. And if everybody has a college education, then nobody's going to want to do the mechanic jobs, and nobody's going to want to do the mining jobs. And basically, also, as a college graduate, whenever you graduate, you want to get a job, and if everybody is going for free, then whenever you get out, there's going to be roughly twice as many people in your degree program, which means that you're going to have ultimately half the jobs, which means that you're going to have all these educated people that aren't going to want to do the lower level jobs, fighting for these higher level jobs that just aren't there. A couple solutions to go to college if, say, you don't want to go in debt or something like that. You can either go to the military and sign your life away for 4 years, and then whenever you get out, you've not only benefited the country, but now you also get a free college education through that. Another way you could do it is subsidized and unsubsidized student loans, which most people view as negatives, but if you handle it with care and you actually look into it and things, you can do it and come out relatively debt-free. Because currently, according to the FAFSA website, the current interest rate for a subsidized student loan is 3.76%, which subsidized basically means that you don't have to pay interest on it while you're still in school, which ultimately means if you're a freshman going in, you get a loan for up to, I think it's like $5,500 for at an interest rate of 3.76%, and ultimately it's interest free for the first 4 years. And that's not a bad deal whenever you look at car loans and things like that have interest rates of 6% and higher. Another thing you could do is just work while you go to college, and work and get a job and try to do both things at once, even though that's hard for some people. Ultimately, it is still an option. Another thing that people can try to do is sign up for scholarships and grants. The state of Ohio offers grants, the government now offers grants at a national level. YSU offers scholarships based on your GPA. If you're foreign, you get scholarships. If you have red hair, you get scholarships. If you're Native American, you get scholarships. There's a lot of opportunities that are already there. What would happen if college were free? Ultimately, jobs would leave the country, the deficit would increase, and job seeking would be more competitive. The reason that jobs would leave the country is because under these free college programs, particularly Hillary Clinton, she wants to raise the rich people's taxes to 60% to cover paying for the difference that it would be. And ultimately, if you raise a rich person's income or taxes to 60%, they're going to want to leave the country and go to somewhere where they maybe only get taxed 20%. And these rich people are the ones that own the companies and ultimately own the jobs. So they're going to leave and take their jobs with them, and then under her plan she doesn't have any consequences for them leaving. So then they can just send their products right back in with no downsides. And that's why, you know, under Hillary Clinton's plan of the 60% tax with charging them their fair share, it's not really a good deal. And then that goes right along with raising the deficit, because if these rich people leave and they take the jobs with them, now you have, you know, thousands of Americans that are unemployed that are now on food stamps and welfare and various other things that the government has to take out loans to cover, because, you know, now they started this program expecting the rich people to pay for it, but they're not even here to pay for it, so now they have to cover the slack of other things too, and it's just, you know, debt and debt piling onto each other. And, you know, this also factors into the job market becoming more competitive, because if these people leave with their jobs, not only is there more people looking for the jobs, but there's less jobs to have because they just left, because the rich people aren't here anymore. You know, if it's not free, I don't think it would get any better. It's just basically going to stay the way that it is. And I do agree that there is some flaws with the current program. And some people do take the loans out of control and get buried and things like that, but that just comes down to self-control. And I don't really think that the government should step in on the college level, and I think it should be the person's decision whether they want to go into debt or whether they want to ultimately not go to college. What actions can people take to not get free college is you can basically vote for Donald Trump. You know, Hillary Clinton, she wants to make this college free, which I know most kids my age, the millennials, they view it as, you know, oh, I get to go to school for free, and I'm going to take out these student loans, and then 10 years from now I'm going to pay $5 a month, and then 20 years they'll be forgiven, and all these things. But that's just not good for the country. And I think Donald Trump has laid out a plan, ultimately, whenever you look at his, you know, his different ideas that he has and his programs and things. I think he has a lot better of an idea of how to make the country better than Hillary does. And I think if you actually look at what he's saying and not listen to the media, then you can actually see that. Because he wants, some things that he wants to do is tax cuts for everyone, including the rich, which is going to bring the jobs back to America, which is kind of a reverse effect of what Hillary wants to do, which is going to cause job growth. And ultimately, under a Donald Trump, we won't need free college education, because he's going to cut restrictions on energy and you know, emissions requirements and all these things, which, you know, again, people kind of view that as global warming. But ultimately, I think we have bigger issues, and China emits so many emissions that even if we cut all of our emissions, it still wouldn't matter. They're in code orange all the time, and they wear the gas masks and things, and, you know, their diffusions come over here, and we're all on the same planet. So ultimately, under Donald Trump's plan, you don't need free college education. And as I already mentioned, Hillary wants you to have the wealthy pay their fair share, but I think we already understand why that wouldn't work. Either way, thank you for listening, and that's it.